Oh, no, you get into those warm covers. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Got a gremlin?
I don't.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Get some more. Just get some more.
All right, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. But we're not talking about that today. No whiskey, not a single one. So what would we normally tell people, Mike, even though we're not drinking whiskey?
Well, even though it's not whiskey, definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Join us on Monday nights. Almost every Monday night is a live episode. And in the Evening With series.
I saw Grape Ape, and I'm like, we're not smoking weed. We're not smoking weed. So all of you out there who thought we were doing something different, that is not what we're doing different. I'm sorry.
Man, I go back to the old cartoon, the Grape Ape.
Yeah, that's Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Where's your mind at?
Potty mouth Pat.
It is grape. We're doing the Catoctin Creek out of Virginia. They do a brandy. Now, besides their rye, they do some really fantastic brandy. The grapes are all sourced locally from there in Virginia, and this is their Distiller's Reserve, the 1757, coming in at a classic 40%, typical of most brandy.
That's true. That is very true. And this is coming from Catoctin Creek, like Ben said, and we will be having them on coming up here the very next Monday. So stop in and see them. We've already seen another review that you've already heard. They were one of our favorite ryes last year. So there's a lot of neat stuff going on. So make sure you stop in to see the most awarded distillery in Virginia that evening. So let's get into the nose of this brandy, which I'm excited about because we play a little bit with brandy, and we're going to keep working our way into that.
Brandy,
She's a fine girl.
You're a fine girl.
Ben, have you ever smelled slightly damp mahogany cigar box?
Yes.
I get that, and then the fruit.
Yeah.
Cooked fruit.
Damp. Yeah, I get that damp wood, that damp cigar box kind of note going. That's definitely in there, and the cooked fruit like grapes with the skins on, grape must.
I'm getting a little apricot on it mixed in with the grape.
I even get a little twinge of lemon in there.
I even get with the lemon. I get a little bit of strawberry.
I get a shot of vanilla.
It's a little bit harder for me to get into this because when we were even playing with some of their stuff that was higher proof, you could really get in there. So this 40, I could almost dip my nose in this.
Crawl up in there and curl up for a bit.
It's very fresh smelling.
Yeah.
It's just very cooling and fresh.
And I think this one's only aged for 2 years, maybe 3. So
I'm getting a little barrel on it, but it's in the back. It's not very heavy.
yeah.
I'd almost think it was maybe at most a 3, probably more of a number 2 char if they were doing it, because this is so forward now. And 2 years where like a lot of brandies you'll see will typically sit a long time. Like some of them are meant to sit 5, 15, 20 years. So 2, you're aiming for something and kind of gearing your product a little bit quicker for the way you bring it out and where your cuts are and what you're putting into it. So this is just a nice cellar. This is like a cellar that has fruit preserves in it for me. I'm smelling 4 or 5 different things in this neat cellar that I just walked into, and I'm getting just some nice aromatics from the fruit, from like the fruits or the jams that are in there.
I get a little bit of leather going on in there too.
Yeah, I get the leather.
I bet you do.
To me, it's more like an old leather chair. You've been sitting in smoking cigar or pipe for years,
Yes.
so you got that little bit of leather, a little bit of smoke.
Yes.
Your grandpa's leftover chair?
I was
basically.
thinking, I was thinking like a leather simple pocket humidor where it's got all the tobacco and smoke in there mixed with it.
Okay, I'm drinking because I got my nose so far in this glass. It's not right.
No, it is not right.
Well, the fruit doesn't disappoint on this, but I'm getting some pear on this that I was not expecting.
What the hell?
Anyone else? A pear or not peach? I don't know. There's something on the front half that was a little different than that wasn't there in the nose.
Pear, a little bit of cherry.
Ginger. There's something like a ginger or something that's. What the hell is that?
Wow, and it's just a tiny amount of spice that midway through creeps up for a split second and then gets like damped over. Something just squashes it down.
I'm not. Maybe ginger's not. Actually, you know what? It's kind of more. When you've had raisins mixed in with stuff, I mean, not like a trail mix, because that's totally different with the nuttiness, but where you get mixed in there where, maybe raisins and dates and things mixed in, where you get, and some sugars in there with it, get a little bit of that. But there's something that's just kind of, stuck out real quick, and that's what made me think of ginger. But
there's this weird fresh feel on the finish, like on the front half of my tongue, where I get I'm having a hard time pegging it, but I know what you're talking about.
I feel like I'm getting a raw almond note coming in there. I don't know if that has anything to do with what you're talking about, but I'm getting like a green almond, raw almond.
Yeah, I'm green grapes and crushed grape skins. Just big on the nose for me right now.
A little bit of that. You're talking about raisin. I'm getting like a golden raisin note on there.
Yeah. Or it's just, a little bit stronger, a little tartar flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a little more dense sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that, definitely. Ooh. The finish is fun on this. I don't want to say it goes aqua freshy, but a little bit. Like, there's a little bit of spice, but there's freshness that rolls up. And
it's a refreshing finish.
Yeah, it's not like it's super minty. Like sometimes you get like refreshing and brings mint. It's not that.
It's not drying. It's not drying and musty. It is almost like just like a light, airy finish.
This isn't real tannic like you would expect with an older brandy in that way. So it does as more of a creamy, but at the same time kind of fresh, bright finish to it. It's
a little wood.
Yeah, a little wood.
A little creamy grape. It's weird. This is like a hard one for me to pick. It's because we'll ask them what type of grapes they were using in this, because I think that might play a big factor in what I'm tasting.
Yeah.
Plus, in a weird note, just outlandish, we might cut this part. What do you think would happen if people used cotton candy grapes? Some of you know what they are. Cotton candy. What do you think would happen if someone used?
I actually had that thought yesterday driving to work, because I had in my mind about distilling and making brandy, and I was thinking, man, has anybody ever thought about doing cotton candy grape? Would that just be like sickeningly sweet, or how would that, or would any of that even come through?
Yeah, well,
I think it would be hard. I would think that the sugars would play against the rest of the distillate. I don't think it would translate.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe the yeast or enzymes might play a factor if you pick the right ones or something. But you're right.
Because I know they make people make sugar shine, but it's a different type of sugar, and I don't know, when you talk about how they're bound together and the chains and stuff, how that would break apart. Yeah, you're probably going to want to cut this, but I would imagine that might be harder to break down versus, because sugar shine it's just more basic. But this, I think, would be harder to break it down. Like maybe you'd have to macerate it a lot and really get it to break down a lot in order for it to ferment the way you want it to ferment.
I wonder if you would have to put them back into either like a basket or something, just the grapes themselves, or either do like some kind of infusion
Oh,
That'd be my kind
in
of
order
gin.
in order to get the notes.
Yeah.
that's
Can you
your
imagine taking a gin and then filtering it through that?
Oh wow!
that would freak me out. But I like where you're going with it. That would be a nice
not
layer.
a lot, but just enough to knock some of the rough
Edges
off.
off. Yeah, I was gonna say and leave that. But yeah, I don't know that it's
Edges.
something.
That's what
Edges.
you did, and knock the edges off a little bit. Don't they have another, like a cast strength or another release of this?
They have an XO
Okay.
version, so they have the Distiller's Edition, and they have the XO, which is obviously an older. And I'll throw in. I just realized this too. They age these in Bordeaux barrels.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe there was like this bit in between that I couldn't peg. That like felt a titch musty for a second, but it was got damped out by the sweetness. Like it stamped out the mustiness, and I couldn't place it. That might be somewhere where that was coming from.
But yeah, I will confirm to you, Mike, this is fabulous with the cigar, and I think it's a great drinking, great sipping brandy all around.
A
A lot better than like the Christian Brothers or whatever you're normally going to pick up off the shelf of an American.
I'm not going to pick
brandy.
that up off a shelf. I'll pick up craft brandy.
There you go.
But the vanilla that I was getting, it's not like pure vanilla extract. It's like if you ever chewed on a vanilla bean. That's what I'm getting. It's like a real bite of vanilla, and it's just coming back in. It's got a little bit more on my tongue, and it's really nice. I'm really liking this.
No, that's a good clarification, because when the vanilla extract is so much more potent, that this is a nice punch of flavor, and it's like a little dense, but it's not the extract level that's just so overpowering. Like, I mean,
it's a lot more like chewing on a vanilla bean. Stands out as being unique in a brandy, though. This is not. It's not as whiny as a lot of brandies that I've had.
And interesting being the fact that it's aged in Bordeaux barrels, you would expect more of a whiny note to it, but it's not. It's not as just pure grape forward and, like you said, a whiny note. There's a lot of little nuance and different things going on. Just took a sip here, and you ever had any foods wrapped in grape leaves?
Oh,
mm-hmm.
I'm getting that note of like a cooked grape leaf coming off in this right now, and it's a little bit of a slightly bitter, but green kind of note going on. That's like, oh, that slightly savory. That's really good.
This is a blend of grapes, right?
Yes,
it's not just one type, so it's a blend of them. So I'm wondering, wondering is if those types of grapes are, well, one, that's what's giving the different flavors coming off of it. Because you would think, again, with the, I mean, I would think, I'm not a big wine person, but I would think that the Bordeaux, for me, I would think it would be, I don't know, it would kind of overpower a little bit.
Right.
But
or
it's not. It's just
through.
These other flavors that are coming out are what's getting me.
I'll be curious.
Especially,
Go ahead. I was going to say, I'm just curious when we have Scott and Becky on to find out what grapes they're using for this one. I know on the XO, on the website, they get specific and they tell you it's Cheval Blanc and Chambourcine grapes are what's used in the brandy.
Okay.
Specifically from Tarara Vineyards in Leesburg, Virginia, for the XO, but for just the Distiller's Reserve, they're not saying. So maybe it's the same ones. Don't know.
Could be different. Could be sliding something in.
But that brandy, that XO, comes in at 50%.
Oh,
so
that's awesome. For those of you who don't know anything about brandy / Armagnac, anything above 40 is exciting.
Yes.
In a different world, just because it doesn't happen often enough. For everyone out there, we thank you for stopping and taking a look at us. When you get done watching this, make sure to check that link. It's going to bring you right over to the stream that we're doing with Scott and Becky on Monday night. is stop in there because there's going to be a ton more information than what we have now, and it's going to be all stuff you want to know. So
Yes.
remember, craft whiskey is king, and we'll see you folks next week. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.